Tonight on the South Today, towns and cities across the South commemorate New Zealand's fallen soldiers and service personnel on Anzac Day. Some very heavy lifting at a Christchurch museum ahead of an ambitious construction project. And Ashburton showcases the nation's best small-scale engineering feats made out of a classic toy. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. Tens of thousands of people gathered across the country early yesterday morning to remember those who served for our country. And despite the cooler temperatures, Anzac services saw an increase in numbers across many regions, with one district's service returning after more than half a century.
The booms of cannons echoing through the streets of Dunedin, commemorating the sacrifice of soldiers for the region. This year's Anzac service saw thousands of people standing shoulder to shoulder in Queen's Garden without restrictions for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. The lives of fallen soldiers and service personnel were also remembered in Mosgiel, where families of those who sacrificed their lives commemorated their loved ones.
Take the time to stop and read the names on the war memorials. Think about what they endured, not only by the people whose names you read, but also their families and their comrades who survived the war.
A special service was held later in the morning at the Monticello Veterans Home, giving residents there the opportunity to pay their respects and remember. Further south in Balclutha saw schoolboys reflecting on how lucky they are to be born in this time, while in Gore, a crowd of young and old members gathered in larger numbers than previous years. The small farming locality of Menzies Ferry brought back its Anzac service after 70 years' absence to mark the centennial of their war memorial.
1923, and at that day there was 500 people here to commemorate that.
Many organisers were pleased with the turnouts at services across the regions, with Gore's RSA president Neil Bone particularly happy to see the interest shown by the younger generation. Across the South Today.
In Invercargill, several hundred people stood out in the cool and breezy weather to pay their respects. And it was a special day for one veteran, as Bill South signed off as the parade master for the 50th time.
Hundreds gathered at Invercargill's War Memorial Cenotaph on Tuesday morning to commemorate Anzac Day. The dawn ceremony marked the 108th anniversary of New Zealand and Australian troops landing at Gallipoli in the First World War. Many braved the chill despite the cold and cloudy weather, both young and old paying their respects.
It's a significant day for a lot of us, remembering the fallen, my great-grandfathers and grandfathers that have been before me, those that are serving in the past, present and in the future. Yeah, it's a very, very moving ceremony here.
Well, it's a really good honour to be chosen to fire the cannon. Very great.
The ceremony included the laying of wreaths, singing of the New Zealand and Australian national anthems, and the familiar sound of bagpipes, Bible verses, bugles and brass. Invercargill's parade also featuring the unique sound of a First World War cannon. The morning gathering was an extra special milestone for local veteran Bill South, marking 50 years as parade master of the Anzac ceremony, and saying it's the last one he'll lead.
Yeah, no, it's been an honour, and I suppose you could say it's been an honour, yeah.
The ceremony in Invercargill was one of many taking place across the country on Tuesday, commemorating the fallen and remembering those who've served. In Invercargill, the South Today.
And there were Anzac services and events held in towns right across Otago and Southland yesterday. Later in the Bulletin, we'll take a look at how residents in central Otago marked the day. Well, one person is in a serious condition following a workplace accident in Invercargill this afternoon. Fire and Emergency confirmed 2 appliances responded to reports of a man who caught his arm in a piece of machinery. The accident happened at an industrial Invercargill's Otakuni Avenue around 1 p.m. today. A St John ambulance and crew were on the scene shortly afterwards and transported one person to Southland Hospital in a serious condition. Contractors in Christchurch have been doing some heavy lifting, taking a few oversized objects from the Canterbury Museum building. The items were removed for safe storage as the museum prepares for a 5-year multi-million-dollar revamp of its facilities.
Sir Edmund Hillary's Ferguson snow tractor being hoisted and safely loaded onto a truck for transport. The historic Antarctic Expedition tractor was one of the last oversized objects taken out of the Canterbury Museum building by crane on Friday morning. Also transported were a large elephant, a giant rotating globe and a tucker snowcat, one of the first vehicles to cross the Antarctic continent. The museum is preparing to move out of the Rolleston Ave site by the end of this month. This will allow contractors to begin an ambitious 5-year, $205 million redevelopment of the facility. More than 2 million exhibits have been moved out of the building over the last 6 months. It's hoped the redeveloped museum will be ready to reopen to the public in 2028. In Christchurch, the South today.
An ambulance was stopped in its tracks this morning after colliding with a vehicle on a main road in Dunedin. A northbound ambulance collided with a car outside Dunedin Hospital shortly after 9 this morning on State Highway 1. Heito Hawani St John says the ambulance was responding to an incident using lights and sirens, but was not carrying any patients at the time. The front of the ambulance was damaged in the crash, with the car lying on its side at the scene. 3 ambulance officers were uninjured, but 1 patient was taken to hospital in a moderate condition. Fire and Emergency attended the scene, and St John are assisting police with the ongoing investigation. Lego is going through a resurgence of interest, thanks in part to a reality TV show, but fans of Meccano seem keen to show off the benefits of their model construction system. Meccano modellers from across the country gathered in Ashburton over the weekend, showcasing creations from more than 30 exhibitors.
This brand of metal and plastic construction system may not have the same profile as Lego, but fans of Meccano say it combines engineering skills with the power of imagination to construct mechanical models. Creations of all shapes and sizes were on display at the Tin World War Memorial over the weekend, as members from the New Zealand Federation of Meccano Modellers came together to share their love of the construction system.
The sense of building something, and at the end of the day it works. And I've been doing it since I've been 6 years old, so it's quite a in the blood type thing.
Formed in 1928, the New Zealand Federation is the longest continuous running Meccano club in the world. Meccano requires a few tools to help assemble the parts. Members showing off a range of different models at the National Exhibition in Ashburton, from simple creations through to highly complex and electronically controlled models.
People have made ball rollers, knitting machines and marble rollers and cranes and trucks. It's, you name it, it's probably here.
He says the only limit to creating with Meccano is your imagination, and is keen to attract new people to the rewarding hobby. In Ashburton, the South today.
Yakane, still to come on the South today. Our regional Anzac Day coverage continues as we head across to central Otago, including a stop off at the Memorial Gates on Whakatipu's lakefront.
Great Britain has a collection of varied landscapes and countryside to rival anywhere else in the world. And the best way to see it is to walk.
Here at Age Concern Otago, we offer a range of services to support Otago seniors to age well with dignity and independence. We provide social work support, visiting service, health promotion and social activities. Check out what we have on offer at ageconcernotago.com.
Is your old bed keeping you up at night? Time to see my mate John. Great sleep sale! For 3 days only, John's taken 25 to 75% off all beds and bedroom furniture. John's got Dunedin's biggest range of beds, all the sizes, in stock and ready to go right now. Don't suffer your old bed another night. Great sleep sale! For 3 days only at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street.
Furniture from Stafford Street. And my mate John.
Drive away your way with 3 incredible offers on the Honda CR-V Adventure Ready range. Choose from 2.9% finance with 0 deposit, third finance, or lease a new CRV from just $136 per week. These offers are only available for a limited time, so be in quick. From Honda.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Aero, used by Australia's top bowlers with their unique Z-scoop grip that redefines the game. Machined with robotics for unparalleled accuracy, Aero, same line, every time.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. Now, as we saw earlier in the bulletin, yesterday was a day of remembrance, which also saw thousands of people attending services in communities right across central Otago.
Trumpets and bugles solemnly playing the last post before dawn across the country on Anzac morning. Thousands of people paid their respects to fallen soldiers on Anzac Day at dawn services around central Otago. The public holiday originally honoured those who served in the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps and in the Gallipoli campaign. It now recognises all New Zealanders killed in war, along with returned and serving servicemen and women. Crowds including young children through to veterans braved the cool weather to attend the commemorative services, many acknowledging family members who served. 3 shots from a 25-pounder field gun rang out through Alexandra, while the wreath-laying service in Clyde drew a crowd of around 500 people. Those leading remembrance services urged attendees to remember the reasons behind Anzac Day and to be grateful for what we have more than 100 years later.
We give thanks for this day, for the peace and security that we enjoy.
Anzac commemorations were held in a number of Otago towns, including Roxburgh, Alexandra, Clyde, Cromwell, Wanaka and Lake Hawea, keeping the memory of the soldiers' sacrifice alive. Across the South today.
Queenstown's dawn service was held at the memorial gates on the lakefront. Around 1,500 people turned out for the ceremony, with organisers impressed with the number of younger people.
Lest we forget, as the Wakatipu Basin comes together in remembrance of the country's Anzac Day veterans. Thousands of people, young and old, gathered this morning at the Queenstown and Arrowtown War Memorials, getting up at the crack of dawn to mark the 108th year since the start of World War I. Arrowtown RSA President Rosemary Chalmers led the service in the historic mining town, while Phil Wilson led the commemorations in Queenstown. As veterans, active soldiers, emergency service personnel and families placed wreaths to remember those who have fallen.
We who are gathered here think of those who went out for us to battle, but did not return. We feel them still near us in spirit.
Queenstown's ceremony concluded with a parade to the resort town, winding up at the Memorial Centre, while Arrowtown began their events this morning with a march from Buckingham Street to the War Memorial.
We have no idea what it would be like to defend our country. Only the men and women who do it, they know it.
At the Arrowtown service, the town's former mayor Jim Bolt gave one of the main addresses on this year's Anzac Day theme, noting that while the Returned in Services Association is old, not every veteran the organisation supports is, reminding us that veterans aren't just in our past, but also in our present. In Central Otago, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Towns and cities across the South commemorated New Zealand's fallen soldiers and service personnel on Anzac Day. Canterbury Museum has been doing some heavy lifting to move its treasured items ahead of a 5-year construction upgrade. And engineering creations of all shapes and sizes have been on display at a National Meccano exhibition in Ashburton. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the editor, Barry Stewart. Hello, Barry.
Hello, Hannah.
What can we expect in Thursday's paper?
Well, just following on from the University of Otago financial issues, so despite the storm clouds around the university, there was no plan to cut jobs until last month, according to the university.
Right.
So it was a recent push over the edge, really. So more information on that.
Okay.
Otago Regional Council joining a national lobby group to try and get free buses for selected passengers.
Okay.
So that's part of a national effort.
Yes.
And a slightly puzzling one, owners of Port Chalmers restaurant are reviewing their CCTV footage to establish, to find out who threw a dead penguin into the rubbish bin behind their premises. So little upsetting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, we look forward to that and all your coverage in tomorrow's paper. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, an incoming anticyclone will bring fine weather to the region for a few days. Still cool tomorrow, but it's looking milder from Friday. Heading to the top of the South Island. It'll be fine with light winds right through here tomorrow. By numbers, expect 18 up in Nelson, 16 over in Greymouth on the west coast, and slightly cooler down in Christchurch with a high of 15 degrees. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago, 15 degrees apiece as we come down the east coast here on what will be a clear day with light winds in Ashburton, Timaru and Oamaru. Heading westwards to the Central Lakes. We're sticking with the mid-teens as we move over here as it shapes up to be a fine day with a slight breeze across the board. Both Wanaka and Queenstown head for a high of 15, while Alexandra is a touch warmer with 16 tomorrow. Heading further south, light winds tend southwesterly down through here with clear skies and highs of 14 degrees for Gore and Balclutha and the Catlins as well. And down to the deep south. Mostly cloudy as it drops to 7 overnight in Invercargill. Thursday's looking fine and sunny with light southwesterlies and a high of 14 before a chilly low of just 1 degree. And into Friday, another clear day with light westerlies and a mild 16 degree high. And finally, heading to Dunedin. Cloudy tonight with westerlies and a low of 8 degrees. Tomorrow's a mixed bag with a cloudy and windy start thanks to the southwesterlies. Then it will be a fine and sunny afternoon with a high of 14 degrees before a cool night. And Friday slightly warmer with 15 and light winds on what will be a sunny day. And that's the news this Wednesday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. You can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand, and you can also now follow us on Facebook. Just search for the South Today NZ to see our favourite stories from around the regions. We'll see you again tomorrow. Ka kite apopo.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today. If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Great Sleep Sale. For 3 days only, John's taken 25 to 75% off all beds and bedroom furniture. Don't suffer your old bed another night. For 3 days only.
And my mate John.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
Passion,
drama, competition,
rivalry,
marketing, numbers,
atmosphere,
power, fight,
attack,
intuition,
love,
hate, money, cash,
millionaires, fans,
and fans.
and fans.
Oh boy.